Found another one, lads. Here we are with another chart show reaction, and this one is yet another end of year special, sponsored by Pepe Jeans. We are looking at the end of year special episode, which was dated, according to my research, original broadcast 26th of December 1992. So this is the 1992 end of year special. Hopefully my research regarding the date is accurate. I don't suppose it really matters, but obviously, as you can probably no doubt tell from the video length and the fact that there's going to be jump cuts all over the place, there's going to be cuts in this, as there has been in the previous 3 reactions that I've done, but I'm happy that I've found another chart show that's gone over half an hour. I think that's worth me reacting to on the channel, and these chart show reactions that I've been doing lately for the 1990, 91 and 96 end of year editions have been quite popular. So when I saw that this 1992 one was available, why not? Right then, so first full video, if you can call it a full video, that we've seen today is Sleeping Satellites by Tamsin Archer. I was never a massive fan of this song. I don't know why. I thought this was a bit earlier than 92, but thinking about it, no, 92, obviously it's a single that was released in 92. It wouldn't be on here if it wasn't, but I always think of this as being more kind of 1990 or 91, but obviously I'm wrong. So welcome to the video. Thank you for joining me once again. These chart show reactions, as I've said before, while ever I find near enough a full edition, or one that's, you know, looks like it's at least half an hour, even with all the cuts that are already on it, and I might have to make more cuts myself. As always, I apologise in advance if that's the case. But I'm really glad that I could get another one done. Right, some facts about Tasmin. She spent her teenage years locked away in her bedroom making tapes of songs she'd written and listened to records by Elvis Costello and Nat King Cole. She wrote Sleeping Satellite over 4 years ago. Okay. We all spent time in our bedrooms making tapes. Some of us spent time in our bedrooms doing other things, but yeah, well, I try and keep this series a more a family show, so I won't go into that. This is alright. Was never overly fond of it when I was younger, but I never hated it either. Alright, so I think it was our first specialist chart, the dance chart of 1992. Top 10 dance singles, lovely stuff. Let's have it. People Every Day at number 10, or is at number 10 by Arrested Development, I should say. Undercover's cover of Baker Street at number 9. Big hit that. Did it get to number 1? If it wasn't number 1, it was number 2. Quite early Prodigy there. Everybody in the Place at number 8. Janice, I Love Your Smile. Do remember this is a big radio hit of the day. I quite like this actually. Not my usual scene really. Some old school rave here on a ragga tip. Slipbat and Lime, or SL2 as they were known. Luther Vandross and Janet Jackson at number 5. I don't know if I'd class this as dance music. I mean, it's R&B, certainly, but... Oh, what a tune, Felix, Don't You Want Me? Brilliant tune, this, love it. Bizarre Inc. at number 3, I'm Gonna Get You. I like this as well. Been some good stuff in this dance chart. Fairly strong one overall, I would say. On KWS, that was definitely a number one. That was Please Don't Go, and they're playing it. So I wonder if the number one is also something that would show up later on in the overall top 10 singles of '92. We shall see. You'd have thought it would be, as they're playing the number 2 here. So yeah, this is basically your standard early 90s Euro dance that was getting bigger and gaining an audience in the early part of the decade. I think KWS were from Britain, I believe. I think they were like a bit of a rave act, really, and this was, from what I know, and my knowledge is very limited, obviously, but I think Please Don't Go was a bit of a departure from their normal sound. I think they'd maybe been going a couple of years or so prior to hitting it big in '92 with Please Don't Go. And I think this was a double A side with a track called Game Boy, which sounds like it's got to sample a load of Game Boy games or something, doesn't it? I did listen to that out of curiosity, probably about a year and a half ago, and it wasn't very good. This was the strongest of the 2 A sides, the double A side single. But you know me, I'm a big mark, a big old sucker for Euro dance. This is a cover, isn't it? And I can't think who originally sung this. Maybe I'll put it on screen. I'll say it again as I've said it in the previous reactions. Anything pertinent I will stick up on screen, but there's no ticker bar, info bar. They're from Nottingham. Yes, of course, they're from Nottingham. Yeah, it stayed at number 1 for 4 weeks and sold in excess of 500,000 copies. I think they had a follow-up single that did okay, but didn't reach the heights that this did again. Once you've had one number 1 single, you don't need any more, do you? Right, what's at number 1 in the dance chart? Of course. I don't know why I didn't think. What a tune. All these decades later, still amazing. Right, we get another specialist chart now, I think after a cut there. But we're getting the indie singles, or the top 10 indie charts of '92. The Verve at number 10. Quite early for them. All in My Mind. This was, obviously about 5 years before the Verve really made it big. Sultans of Ping and Where's Me Jumper at number 9. The excellent Suede and Metal Mickey. I mean, Suede had a load of hype surrounding him from '92 onwards. And for the most part, they lived up to the hype. Shaman, who were in a previous indie chart, in a previous reaction. You'd think really they ought to be in the dance chart, but they were on an indie label, One Little Indian, I think, for many years. Pavement at number 6. No promo video. And the Lovesick Pleasure EP by Daisy Chainsaw is at number 5. Not one I'm familiar with, nor was I familiar with Pavement. Erasure Aberesque at number 4. That was obviously a big selling single in '92. It was on Mute Records, so it qualifies as an indie single. PJ Harvey at number 3. Sugar Changes at number 2. Some stuff I'm not familiar with here. And Suede in again and at number 1 with the Drowners. Says we're playing it. Yeah, I was just pausing myself there for a moment in case it got caught. This is alright, this. I don't think it's Suede's strongest single by any stretch. I don't know if this was their debut or if Metal Mickey was. I would guess it was this, but Metal Mickey's way better than this in my opinion. But there's nothing wrong with this. This is decent enough. Just, you know, me personally, I think Suede have done better. Of course, Brett Anderson on vocals. Bernard Butler at this point would have been the guitarist in the band. Expect much more great things from Suede over the next few years. For me, my favourite Suede single will always be Stay Together, which was a standalone single. It didn't come out on an album, and I think it's the final Suede single to feature Bernard Butler as well. One of my favourite songs of the 90s, Stay Together. They did some good stuff afterwards. I've got one of their more later 90s albums on mini-disc, Head Music, I think it's the one I've got, which is fine, it's good, but they were past the best at that point. The band all lived together in London. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention there to the info on screen. Right, best solo artist of 92 is Curtis Stigers. I'm sure, did he get... No, he didn't get voted the best solo artist of 91. I think I'm thinking of Kenny Thomas. Curtis has been in Christmas in New York and his place of birth Boise, Idaho. I can't say I'm disappointed that seemed to get a couple of cuts. Right, rock charts, top 10 rock singles of 92. Let's go! Make Love Like a Man from Def Leppard is at number 10. Quite like it, without loving it. L7, Pretend We're Dead. I haven't heard this in a good few years. I think I quite liked that back in the day. Symphony of Destruction, Megadeth. Not my scene really, to be honest, Megadeth. Nirvana, quite inevitable that they'd be in this chart somewhere with Lithium. And God Gave Rock and Roll to You Too by Kiss at number 6. From Bill and Ted's Focus Journey, probably. Faith No More at 5 with Midlife Crisis. Bohemian Rhapsody, Queen, number 4, well it was a Christmas number 1 in 1991, and however the chart show judged their charts, it obviously sold enough to be included in the 92 chart. Mr. Big, To Be With You at 3. Cover of Knocking on Heaven's Door by Guns N' Roses is at number 2. They did quite a few covers, didn't they, Guns N' Roses? And Ugly Kid Joe is your top rock song of the year. Everything About You. They're from Santa Barbara, California, and this single's a subtle statement of their wild and wacky outlook on life. And it featured in Wayne's World. Well, yeah, we saw a scene from Wayne's World. Oh, worst video of the year. We've had some weird ones in this category. The Trogs, Wild Thing. Okay. So they basically just re-recorded this, did they? And filmed a new video, because obviously they had a hit with this back in the 60s. mid-late 60s, was it? Hang on, that's Oliver Reed, isn't it? Why? The Trogs are still in great demand today. Oliver Reed is a great rock fan. Yeah, so it's basically the Trogs featuring Oliver Reed. I had no idea that was a collaboration that ever happened. How strange.
Wild thing, I think you're moving. But I wanna know for sure.
Sorry, I'm a bit speechless by this, really. Very illuminating, some of these worst video nominations in these chart show specials. Like, I didn't know Peter Ebdon had ever released a single. The boring snooker player. That's strange. I mean, what was the point of this? No idea where this got to in the chart, even if it did get in the chart. If there's no chart position up on screen, it'll mean it didn't chart. Or that I can't find the data for it.
Get out of that cupboard wall,
It's growing on me, I'll say that. I mean, it's a good song back in the day. It's been covered by one or two artists. It's John Moxley's entrance music in AEW. I think that might be Joan Jett cover version. That. Anyway, this I'm assuming is the top 10 singles of 1992. Let's have a butcher's hook at this. Ebenezer Gordon, number 10. They're also in the indie chart. Great stuff, love it. And another one that was in the indie charts, and another number one, like the Shaman was. The Aberesk EP, this will be, of course, Take a Chance on Me. And that's been cut, sadly. I do love Erasure. Undercover, Baker Street at number 8. I think 92 was a really strong year for good pop singles, to be honest. There were some good covers, some great dance music. Hazard, Richard Marx at 7. It's alright. This is another former number one. Excuse me. Never liked this. Good Night Girl. As overplayed as Love Is All Around was, and anything that spends 15 weeks at number one bound to be overplayed, I'd still rather hear that than Good Night. Oh no, please don't play all of this. Oh. Right Said Fred, Shite Said Fred, they're the bane of my life on chart show reactions. I think this is their sole number one. Of course, I'm Too Sexy, which came out in 91, spent numerous weeks at number 2 because it was just stuck behind Bryan Adams. Everything I do it for you. And to think, no one had a good word to say about Bryan Adams, but at least he kept Right Said Fred from getting to number 1 that year. But they did manage it in 92 with the arguably even worse than I'm Too Sexy, Deeply Dippy. There they are, the Camp Mitchell brothers themselves. Never liked this. I don't know how many weeks it spent at number 1. I think it was at least a couple, maybe even 3. I've talked about the Freds, Right Said Fred, the Fair Brass brothers, and the weird opinions on Twitter in a previous reaction, so I won't go on about it again. Their debut album Up has just gone double platinum in the UK. You should be ashamed of yourself, Britain. Next year they begin recording their second album, rehearsals for a world tour. And Richard's New Year's resolution is to wear even more outrageous clothes. I don't like this. It's always annoyed me, this. And the passage of time, probably with a little bit of the fact that knowing how utterly bonkers, batshit crazy Right Said Fred are on Twitter these days, hasn't really helped the likes of Deeply Dipping Anti-Sex. I will say one thing about Right Said Fred that's positive though. Their duet with, was it Jocelyn Brown, which I think came out in '92 as well, Don't Talk Just Kiss. I did quite like that, and I still do. So, I'm not completely anti everything Right Said Fred ever did, but I'm pretty sure that's probably the only single of theirs that I actually quite liked. And that was probably mostly due to Jocelyn Brown and the Gay Mitchell brothers there. Oh, thank God that's over. Katie Brass, again, we heard them earlier with Please Don't Go. Number 3, End of the Road, Boys to Men. If this gets cut, I'm not going to be disappointed. You know, it's typical, isn't it? The stuff that you want to be cut isn't, and then the stuff you'd like to hear in full generally does get cut. It's sod's law, really, when you're doing these reactions from these heavily edited episodes of Chart Show, and I suppose Top of the Pops as well, really. But I hope you're enjoying this reaction to the 1992 end of year chart show. Let me know in the comments what you've enjoyed on here, what you haven't enjoyed. I was going to say let me know of other years you'd like to see covered in the chart show reactions, but these are so few and far between. I never expected to find this one today, to be honest. I just kind of looked on the off chance and it was available, so I thought, yep, let's get a reaction, let's get a watch along. Yeah, watch along's what the cool kids call these, isn't it? I call them a commentary sometimes, because I'm old, and commentary sounds more sort of serious and almost sporting than watch along. End of the Road held the #1 spot on Billboard's music chart for 13 weeks, bloody hell. It beat the record set by Elvis Presley with Don't Be Cruel, Hound Dog. I mean, if you're into soul ballads, R&B ballads, then you know this is probably one of your all-time classics, but this has never been my scene ever. I respect the fact they've got good voices, and as a vocal group they were, you know, they were quality, but this just does nothing for me. This is from a film, isn't it? I can't make out what the film will be. Maybe I'll put the info on screen at some point. It's got Eddie Murphy in it, we can see that. There's got to be some sort of comedy in it. I think how many weeks they spent at the top of the UK charts. I don't know, maybe 4 possibly.
Girl, I'm here for you.
Nice Barry White impression from this lad here.
It just ran out with that other fella. Baby, I knew about it. I just didn't care. You just don't understand how much I love you, do you? I'm here for you.
Take off your brassiere, my dear. Alright.
I love you anyway.
I think I've maybe OD'd on caffeine a little bit too much today.
I'm just in so much pain, baby, because you just won't come back to me. Will you? Just come back to me.
Excellent single. I told you 1992 was chocker full of great pop songs, and this is certainly no exception. Stay, Shakespeare's Sister. Yes, it was overplayed back in the day, but the biggest singles weren't they? You know, you can't. If you liked something, I suppose you didn't mind hearing it a lot, and I like this. I liked it back then, and I like it even more now. I think really, it's probably one I've grown more fond of as I've got older rather than less. Well, I'm gonna guess that number one will be "Rhythm Is a Dancer" by Snap, as that was also number one in the dance top 10, and it wasn't played. So, if that's the case, and knowing my luck, I'll have guessed wrong and look at it in a minute. But if I'm right, then I'm pleased about that, and I'm also happy to see this. I mean, really iconic video. This I know it was parodied the following year for the Comic Relief. No, it wasn't for Comic Relief actually. I tell a lie. They parodied it in the Mr. Blobby single that was Christmas number one in '93, weren't it? Mr. Blobby by Mr. Blobby. Absolutely dreadful. But it stopped Take That from getting the Christmas number one, so yeah, something to be kind of thankful indirectly to that supercilious shithouse Noel Edmonds. I don't know if Noel Edmonds invented Mr. Blobby or... it doesn't matter. I'm not going to stop talking about Mr. Blobby. We should talk about Shakespeare's Sister, because they were... Although, no, I won't call them a one-hit wonder, and that's unfair, really. But obviously this was their biggest hit by a country mile. It's got this little bizarre bit from Siobhan Fahey here, formerly of Bananarama. The other female singer, the other member of Shakespeare's Sister, of course, was Marcella Detroit. Siobhan and Marcy were introduced to each other by a mad old professor in Los Angeles. Marcy is a very talented songwriter. Yeah, what can you say? Nothing to dislike about this. Just quality, sort of slightly overblown, but in a good way. I don't even know what kind of subgenre you'd call this. It's not alternative, particularly. Gothic pop? I don't know. Right, let's see if I was right and Snap Rhythm Is a Dancer is number one, and if it is, I hope it's not cut, because it's a banger and I love it. Yes, it is. Another iconic video, really, very memorable. I think this might have been another video which was parodied by Mr. Blobby as well, in his video. Stop talking about Mr. Blobby, James, please. One of the best bass lines and one of the best keyboard melodies ever. I think it's actually based on an earlier Euro dance, well, not necessarily Euro dance, but an earlier like synth track that came out in Germany or somewhere some years prior. So it's, you know, kind of borrows from that. I don't think it's a sample as such, but it might be. If I can find out any info about that, I will put it on screen. Yeah. I mean, of course, Snap, Snap, they had, they'd already had a number one in, that would have been 1990 or 91 with The Power. Video was shot at Cape Canaveral. And I like The Power, I like a lot of the singles off that first album, World Power, but this is elite level, really, elite level Eurodance. One of my favourite songs of the 90s, and a thoroughly well-deserved number one in Chart Show's chart here. Turbo B, rap in there. I think that might be Penny Ford on vocals there. Worried I'm getting her name wrong. If I'm not correcting myself on screen, it meant I didn't get a name wrong. Right, we're going to see the best video of 1992 now. What will it be? Oh, so Chart Show voted for Man on the Moon. Michael Stipe and the lads ditty their ode to Andy Kaufman. By the time you're watching this, then Andy Kaufman will have been inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame this year. And a rightful and just induction, in my opinion. Of course, a few years later, well, more towards the end of the 90s, came the Andy Kaufman biopic, Man on the Moon, starring Jim Carrey, of course. Great film that. I really recommend that people watch that. Andy Kaufman, I don't think I'd be a fan of his style of comedy, if you can say he had a style, across the board, but you know, just had such a fascinating and unique way of working. Man on the Moon really threw a light on that, and I think they did a good job with that. And some biopics, you think, well, you know, how accurate is this? But I like it, it's a good film. The video was directed by Peter Kerr and written by Michael Stipe. It's based on the film Giant, starring James Dean. Runners-up included Annie Lennox, Walking on Broken Glass, Shakespeare's Sister, Hello, and A House, Endless Hearts. No idea what A House and Endless Heart is. That passed me by.
About this one, tell me, are you locked in the punch? Hey, Andy, are you goofing on Elvis? Hey, baby, are you
good song. You know, when I think about my favourite R.E.M. singles, I don't know why, considering how much the film that was named after this song eventually, how much I like that. I never think about Man on the Moon, but it is a really good single. Yeah. I think it's up there with R.E.M.'s finest, really. So, Chart Show wishing a Happy New Year to all of you. And look, the credits are on, so I think that is my time to say goodbye. Time to... No, I won't. Maybe I'll save that for a Smule in the future. Right, I'm going to go. Thank you for joining me. Special thanks to my patrons and subscribers, of course. And please will you join me again next time, whatever that may be, for my next Chart Show reaction. Cheers, everyone. See ya!